Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to the 2018 Holiday Special. Well, one part of it at least. You see, as I mentioned previously in my announcement video for the special, this is going to be in 3 parts. This first part here is going to be the movie reaction to Love Actually. And I'll get more into that in a second, but the second part, which will probably be the next one to be uploaded, will be my top 10 favorite Christmas or holiday songs. I hope to get that one out sometime either by the end of this week or early next week. No promises. But then after that, the last part will be the holiday live stream, which will be on Friday the 21st. I still have not figured out exactly time-wise when we're going to do it, but it will be on that day, and I will continue to update you as time goes along. So, in the meantime, yeah, Love Actually. This is a movie I've wanted to see for quite a long time, actually, but never got around to it. From what I know, it's about a couple different sets of people who are basically trying to get ready for the holidays. I know that Bill Nighy is in it. I know that Alan Rickman is in it. And I believe Rowan Atkinson is in it. I'm not 100% sure about that. I really hope he is, because Rowan Atkinson can be pretty funny. Even when he's not doing Mr. Bean or whatnot. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what kind of stuff we got with this. Like, I'm expecting it to be very centered in reality. Like, there's not going to be a lot of wild, exciting stuff. It's just going to be kind of like what these families are doing to prepare. There's probably going to be a lot of drama to it. There's probably going to be some comedy, some romance, that kind of stuff. But otherwise, I really don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen any trailers or whatnot, and I think I've seen like maybe 1 or 2 clips in the past, but again, it's been a long time. So yeah, I could honestly not tell you down to any details what it's about. But I think that's best. And some of you might be wondering, it's like, wait, aren't you pretty much strictly animation, cartoons and anime? Why are you doing a live-action movie for this? There's plenty of holiday movies and stuff out there. And you're right, there are plenty of holiday movies out there. There's even some ones on Netflix that are Netflix exclusive and whatnot that I have not seen. But as I mentioned, this is something I've been wanting to see for a while, and I think it'd be fun to react to either way. It supposedly has a really, really great star-studded cast, and it's like, doing a live-action thing every once in a while isn't any big deal. I mean, I did Stranger Things Season 2 for my Halloween special in 2017, back on the old channel, and so it's just like, why not? Just mix it up every now and again. Now, that doesn't mean I won't ever get to other animated movies and stuff. I definitely plan to. And it doesn't mean that I'm in any way leaving behind animation. This channel is still going to be almost entirely focused on animated reactions. Reactions to various anime and cartoon series, and in some cases, movies. But it doesn't mean we can't change things up every once in a while, you know? So yeah. That is the plans here, and I do still also have to get to recording the normal Oban Star Racers reaction today, so we're just going to get right into this. Again, I don't really know much about this film, so I don't have anything else to really say. I can't really even predict anything. It's not that kind of movie, I feel. And again, especially with not knowing much. But yeah, so we're just going to get going. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then it fades back in, Everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being, or to the movie. I'm used to saying episode. Spoilers to the movie. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay. So, this was a pretty good movie. Nothing I'd say was spectacular, and it's not a movie I'll probably watch every Christmas or anything. Not one of those holiday tradition kind of movies, not like Christmas Vacation or whatnot. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun. I liked a lot of these stories. And I just had a good time all around. Now, I actually need to look up, like, just try to get a full grasp on what every story was. Because there were quite a few of them. I mean, it was an ensemble cast movie. And also, this was from 2003. Like, holy crap. I didn't realize it was that old. So, wow. Okay, so it centers around a group of different sets of characters. First, there's Billy Mack and Joe. So Billy Mack is this famous rock and roll singer from the past. He's kind of washed up. He's kind of like not the star he used to be, but he's trying to make a comeback and record this Christmas version of the song "Love Is All Around." He thinks it's terrible. He's not really like he doesn't enjoy the popularity it's getting. But it does. It's getting really popular. It becomes the #1 Christmas single of the year. And he's just kind of not really enjoying it. He doesn't really see the point in all of it. So, eventually, after it all kind of works out for him, he is invited to a party hosted by Sir Elton John, amazing choice. But he realizes that his manager, Joe, is in some need of some affection and just really needs to be told that someone's there for him, because he's kind of always looked away from Joe. He's kind of never really given him a lot of attention. So he decides to spend Christmas hanging out with him instead. And there's one thing I'm a little unclear on. Did Billy legitimately admit that he loved Joe? Like, did he actually, come out as gay? I'm not, saying it's a bad thing if it's not. Actually, complete opposite. And especially because of how subtle it was, if that is the case. That would actually be fantastic. I'm not completely clear if that was the case, or if he was just trying to say that just to say not love in terms of romantic love, but it's I care for you. It's not clear. But overall, this part of the story, this section of the story, you could say, wasn't my favorite, but I enjoyed it. Bill Nighy did fantastic as Billy Mack. Gregor Fisher was great as Joe, and I just thought it was nice. I didn't have any strong feelings on that one. But next we get to Juliet, Peter, and Mark. This one, I didn't hate it or anything. I didn't even dislike it. But it was really awkward. So, Juliet and Peter, played by Keira Knightley and, I'm going to butcher this name, Chiwetel Ejiofor. Again, he's in Black Panther and all that. I believe he's also going to be in the live-action Lion King movie, actually. Or no, maybe he's not. No, he's not in Black Panther. He's Mordo in Doctor Strange, sorry. And he's going to be Scar in the live-action Lion King. So yeah, he's Mordo in Doctor Strange. I got wrong character. So they get married, and Peter's best man and best friend, Mark, played by Andrew Lincoln of Walking Dead fame, videotapes it and all. So, eventually, Juliet wants to get the tapes of the wedding from Mark because all the tapes she had turned out like really blue and whatnot. Just some video issues and all. It can happen. But he keeps avoiding it. However, when she visits him, he can't avoid it any longer when she finds the tape and plays it. And it's very clear from the fact that he was specifically like focusing on her throughout the entire taping of the wedding that he has feelings for her. And it's like really, really obvious. And eventually, on Christmas Eve, Mark goes to Juliet and Peter's house with these cue cards and a boombox, and basically, without saying a word, uses the cue cards to tell her his feelings. And she gives him a quick kiss, and he walks away. And basically what he says, basically what it comes out to is what he's saying is that that's enough. I can move on now. Because he clearly had a thing for her. They thought that he never warmed up to her, that he didn't like her, but no, he was madly in love with her. And he tried to distance himself, as he put it, out of self-preservation. Because she was marrying his best friend, and he didn't want to hurt his relationship with Peter at all. This one was really awkward just because of the fact that he was in love with his best friend's wife and everything, and it was just, I don't know how else to put it. It was just really awkward. But it was also kind of cute. Like, the way he did that with the cue cards and the boombox and all was actually really cute. And the fact that it ends with that quick kiss and it's just like, okay, that's enough. I'm good now. That's actually a very mature way to handle it. So I can actually appreciate that. But it was still awkward to watch, I'll be honest. Next we have Jamie and Aurelia. And this is probably one of, if not my favorite part of the movie. So, Jamie... well, okay, it's not... I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's definitely one of them. So, Jamie, played by Colin Firth, is a writer. And he's, he's interesting. Because at first he goes to Julia and Peter's wedding, and I'm trying to remember all the stuff that happened with him, because there was stuff before, like, all of the... There's actually stuff that was played earlier on that I'm trying to remember all the information about. Let me look this up. Just to get a quick viewpoint. Okay, yeah. So, he goes to Julia and Peter's wedding with his girlfriend. She feigns illness, and between the ceremony and reception, he finds out she's having an affair with his brother. So, it's at this point, this is the point where I remember everything. He goes to his French cottage, and while there, he meets this Portuguese housekeeper who begins to work for him named Aurelia. She doesn't speak English, he doesn't speak Portuguese, so they have a difficulty and inability to really communicate properly. However, they very quickly become attracted to each other, and even though they can't communicate naturally, they show that they still seem to understand each other. She ends up having to leave, and when he returns to England, he realizes his love. Like, he hadn't really come to terms with it yet. So he begins learning Portuguese because he wants to eventually go after her. And he does. He finds her family, and they lead him to her at the restaurant she works at. And the moment where he's, like, confessing his feelings and asks for her hand in marriage in that broken Portuguese and all, that was adorable. That was really cute. And her response and using broken English and all was fantastic as well. This story, the Jamie and Aurelia story, was just really cute. It was really cute and fun, and just a very basic, simple, enjoyable story. I really liked it. But next we get to one that's probably one of my least favorites. But again, it's not what I would really call bad. I wouldn't really call any of these stories, like, straight up bad, but this is definitely one of my least favorites. Harry, Karen, and Mia. So Harry is played by Alan Rickman. He's the managing director of a design agency. And his new secretary, Mia, is really, really flirtatious towards him. Now, he has a great marriage with his wife, Karen. They have children, and it's just, he's in a good spot. However, Mia is becoming really flirtatious, really sexual towards him. And his big problem is he's doing nothing to stop it. He's doing nothing to stop it. He seems very, very uncomfortable, though. Like, pretty much the entire time she does, every time she does it and all. He does dance with her at the Christmas party, but he still seems very, like, he's trying to keep his distance and keep it more professional. So, he eventually decides he's going to get her something for Christmas, and she tells him that she wants something shiny, something pretty, basically. Something expensive, let's put it that way. She's trying to get him to spend a lot on her, and he does it. He is almost caught by Karen purchasing the necklace from Rowan Atkinson's character, the jeweler. And eventually he does purchase it. Because we see that Karen finds it in his coat pocket. And she thinks it's a gift for her, and rightfully so. Like, I mean, why would she think otherwise? On Christmas Eve, they agree to open one present each, which is a pretty normal tradition. I've heard a lot of people have done. So they decide to open one present each on Christmas Eve. She opens a box that she thinks is going to be the necklace, but it's actually just a Joni Mitchell CD. Now, she had mentioned previously that she likes Joni Mitchell, which is completely fine. Joni Mitchell's great, but it's not what she was expecting, which allows her to come to the conclusion that the necklace was for someone else. Eventually, after the play, at the end, she does finally confront him. And he can do nothing but ask for her forgiveness, but things don't end up so well. This is one of my least favorites, not just because things don't end well for them. I mean, even at the end when they re-meet at the airport, you can see there's that tension between them. And there's that love is kind of lost. That spark is kind of lost. It's not only my least favorite because of that. I actually appreciate that they had one story like that in here. I just feel like it's easily avoidable. He was clearly uncomfortable with Mia's coming on to him. And all he had to do was tell her to stop or explain to his wife what was going on. He had so many opportunities to stop it. I mean, don't get me wrong, this kind of stuff happens, where they don't explain things and it just gets out of hand and it goes into a bad direction. Yeah, that happens in real life. But it's just like, it's irritating because that is easily avoidable. You could easily avoid that just by explaining things. If you're having a hard time stopping this behavior from your secretary, one, you could fire her for that. Two, tell her to stop. Tell her it's making you uncomfortable. That's what I would do. In fact, okay, I have a fun little story. I have a fun little story that might surprise some people. There was actually a girl who, at one point when I was in high school, came on to me. Pretty hard, too. Not quite as hard as Mia in this movie. No, it was nothing quite like that. But it was extremely obvious that she had a thing for me, and I didn't like her. And it's not that I didn't. It's not that I hated her. Not at all. I had no real feelings for her one way or the other. I didn't know her. Like, she was in my swimming class. I had a swimming class in high school, ninth grade specifically. And here's the basic thing. Like, when we were doing our swimming stuff and whatnot, and during free swim, she would always position herself as close to me as she could. And during free swim and stuff, she would make sure she was right by me. She would go out of her way to try and talk to me. After we would be done with class and just heading out of the locker rooms and everything, she would always try to approach me and just talk to me about things. And, like, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. And I didn't, like, try to, like, push her away necessarily, because she was just trying to strike up a conversation and all. And if she wanted to, if people want to talk to me, I'll talk to them. But it was increasingly clear that she had a thing for me. And again, I didn't have any feelings for her in that way. And eventually, it got to the point where she was, again, in the swimming class, there were points where she was getting uncomfortably close to me. Like, as in, pretty much touching me. Not inappropriately. But she was rubbing, like, arms against me and stuff, and it became a bit much. So eventually, one day after class, when we leave the locker room and all, she came up to me as normal, and I confronted her about it. I told her that I wasn't comfortable with this. I told her straight up, I don't have these feelings for you. But I also told her I'd be fine with remaining friends. I'd be fine with getting to know you and just hanging out sometime. And she had a hard time with it. She obviously, felt rejected, and honestly, I did technically reject her. But eventually, she did come around, and we became friends. And after I moved from that neighborhood and everything, we weren't friends anymore at that point, because we never kept in contact. I don't know what she's doing now or where her life has gone, but yeah, it's just, I've experienced with this kind of thing with someone coming on to me, and it's like, it's like literally the only time someone has ever come on to me. The only time someone has actually showed interest in me that I know of. There might have been other times where other people have been interested in me and I might not have noticed, but all the other times it's like it was me asking and being rejected. But it's like, yeah, I just had to tell her. I had to tell her that I was uncomfortable about this, that I was uncomfortable about all her approaching, all her coming after me, basically. And afterwards, she did stop doing that. She stopped getting as close to me in the pool. She definitely stopped flirting with me. And yeah, it's just like, even after we did end up becoming friends, she respected my personal space from that point on. And we did legitimately become friends. We would actually hang out in the cafeteria during lunch and stuff. And we would say hi, and we would chat and have fun and laugh with each other. We did become friends, but it did take a couple weeks after I told her no, basically, after I rejected her. And that's the thing with this movie. Harry could have very easily done the same thing with Mia. Told her he was uncomfortable. Told her that this wasn't going to work, that he has a wife and children. And it's just, it feels like it could have been avoided to me. Even if Harry is one of those guys who's like not very well outspoken, I just feel like he could have done something. He could have at least told his wife what was going on. Been honest with her, because he can clearly speak with her. Because even by the end, it doesn't seem like he ever told her what was happening. He just kind of took the blame for it. And it's like, it's not really completely fair, because it's not really his fault. Yes, he should have said and did something. He just kind of let it happen, but still. So it's not like I hate this story. It was still entertaining to watch from a viewing perspective, but it did kind of annoy me, if I'm being a little honest. But next we have David and Natalie, and this one is probably one of my favorite. In fact, I know it's one of my favorites. It's probably my favorite. So Karen, the wife from before, Alan Rickman's wife in there, her brother David is the newly elected Prime Minister of the UK. Pretty big shoes to fill, and he's played by Hugh Grant, wonderful actor and everything. And he has, of course, this household staff at one of his places. And one of the staff is this young girl named Natalie. And we see pretty early on... Oh, excuse me. I felt like I was going to sneeze there. We see pretty early on that he kind of develops these feelings for her. He kind of likes her, and she seems to like him too. But they don't really act on it. So the U.S. President comes along, not too unusual. U.S. President coming to congratulate the newly elected Prime Minister and all that, and hash out some things. And the President, played by Billy Bob Thornton, honestly, that was a great choice. It just works. So they run into Natalie, and the President starts acting really inappropriately, saying some really nasty things about Natalie. And then David ends up finding that the President is coming on to Natalie at one point. Yeah, and everything kind of goes wrong from there. There's a joint press conference, and honestly, David is really just, I feel like, upset at what was going on. So he goes all out and takes a stand against the President's policies and against him being kind of this intimidator, which definitely something realistic to our current country. So at this point, his relationship with Natalie has become very, very strained and everything. And so he moves her to another job. He changes her position so he doesn't have to interact with her. And eventually on Christmas Eve, he receives a Christmas card, and in it she tells him that she loves him, basically. So he goes to find her, not knowing exactly which house it is, but knowing the street, and he eventually does. But she finds that her and her family are on the way to the Christmas play. So he helps drive them all there with his police escort and everything. And while there, she sneaks him into the back, and yeah, they end up kissing backstage and being revealed as the curtains rise. But they go with it, and they do become a couple. So yeah, this one was just really, really freaking cute. It was cute. It was nice. I love the interactions between David and Natalie. The actors were all great, and it just showed a really nice... Like, I feel like this was the best interpretation of the love message of the movie, personally. But the next one was pretty damn good, too, and that was Daniel, Sam, Joanna, and Carol. A lot of people in this one. So this is the Liam Neeson one. So Liam Neeson plays Daniel, and his wife recently died. So he's trying to raise his stepson, obviously his wife's son, who he married into, alone. But he eventually finds out that Sam, his stepson, has fallen for this classmate, Joanna. And his class, and he's trying to help Sam, because he understands how powerful and important love is. and he wants to help his son come to terms with it and really confront her and tell her. So they talk together about it and decide that maybe trying out an instrument will help because Joanna is musically gifted. So Sam starts using the drums, which apparently is very clearly to Daniel's a bit annoyance. But he's having fun and he's doing his best. And eventually, at the Christmas pageant, he gets to perform in the big musical number with her, playing the drums for her. And yeah, it's like eventually, when she's going to be returning to the U.S. for Christmas, Daniel brings Sam to the airport to try and stop her, and it ends up leading to this great scene where Sam's running through the airport, being chased by security, going through the boarding pass check and everything just to try and get to her. And he does. He does get to her, but he's escorted out, and she comes out to see him real quick and gives him a kiss on the cheek. And they eventually reunite when she comes back after the holidays, and it all seems to be working out pretty well. Daniel also meets the mother of one of Sam's classmates, Carol, during this time, and by the end they seem to have become a bit of a couple too. Now, one thing to note here, one thing I actually just found out because I have the Wikipedia open at the moment and everything. Joanna, the young girl that Sam has a crush on, the one who's singing during the pageant, who I noted had a very good singing voice, she's played by Olivia fucking Olsen. If you don't know who that is, Olivia Olsen is Marceline the Vampire Queen in Adventure Time. She's also Vanessa Doofenshmirtz in Phineas and Ferb. She's the singing voice on the radio in that one episode of Steven Universe. I cannot think of the episode right at the moment. But you know what I'm talking about. That one episode is... what's the episode called? Because it's like she's just a voice on the radio, but she is in it. It's the one song where Sadie's going to perform in the... My mind is blanking on that. But either way. So yeah, this is a character we know can sing. A character we know has that talent and that skill. So it's like, I would not have realized that. I mean, I've seen, obviously, Olivia Olsen before. I know what she looks like and everything, but it's like, I just wouldn't have put that together. It just didn't occur to me, you know? So yeah, that was great. But yeah, overall that story was really just cute and fantastic, and I love the idea of young love and everything. So after that, we had Sarah, Carl, and Michael. And this one was another one that was admittedly not one of my favorites. So Sarah is this employee at the company that Harry works at. And she's been there for 2 years or so, I don't remember exactly. And she has a crush on Carl, who also works there. At the Christmas party, they finally do connect after everyone in the office already knowing that she has the crush. And they eventually they go to her home and they start to get it on. But Sarah's brother, her mentally ill brother Michael, keeps calling her and interrupting. And she's not going to just ignore her brother. She clearly cares for him greatly. But because of this, Sarah and Carl's their little romance is kind of interrupted, and eventually it just kind of goes nowhere. And on Christmas, Sarah goes to spend time with her brother. This one is one of my least favorites because unlike the other one where the love doesn't really happen in the end, this one just feels like it went nowhere. Like, this one just feels like nothing actually happened. Because the entire setup was this girl, Sarah, she likes Carl. But she's been so nervous about admitting it to him and everything, and she's not really been able to go up to him and confront him about it and everything. And it's just like, they finally do get together, and in the end, it's like, they break apart. It all falls apart because she has this dedication to her brother. I mean, they could have at least explained that Carl didn't like that, or that he felt like she should be paying more attention to him, because that would at least have painted him as kind of an asshole and given some precedence to them not ending up together in the end. But instead, it just kind of, their romance just disappears after that one scene. It's just gone. There's not really anything to it. And that's kind of what bothered me about it. It never went anywhere. It never seemed to actually deliver on its build-up. And I get the message of it, like, okay, so she's not, again, going to abandon her brother, and in the end, that's the love that she shared during this holiday. And that's fine, but again, it's just like, it just didn't feel like there was actually any conclusion to her and Carl's story. That's all I'm saying. The next one was the one that this one I didn't like or hate necessarily, but it just kind of, it just kind of confused me in a way. Colin, Tony, and the American Girls. So, Colin is kind of this really, really forward guy who's trying to woo all these girls, who's trying to basically get with everyone and has no sense of how to do it. He's extremely awkward, and he blames it on English women. He thinks English women are too high and proper for that, which this movie definitely dispelled that rumor. But he tells his friend Tony that he's going to go to America because he thinks that his Britishness, just being British and having an accent stuff, is going to woo American girls. Which, yes, some girls would be wooed, and some girls do like British accents. Of course, I've known plenty of girls who like British accents. Hell, to a degree, I like British accents. But a lot of girls won't just, like, do what happened here. I think the reason that this one didn't really do it for me as much is because it felt really unrealistic and over the top. Especially compared to everything else. Everything else kind of felt grounded in reality. But this one just felt really excessive with how over the top it was. So, Colin goes to America. He goes to Milwaukee specifically, and is just taken to a bar. There he meets these three girls who are exceedingly attractive, like, you know, the very stereotypical attractive girls. What is very commonly seen as the excessively sexy girls. And they instantly fall for his accent and invite him to their home, and they have sex. Very, very, very easily and quickly. And eventually, when he comes home after the holidays, he brings two of them with him. One of them he apparently has gotten with, like, legitimately, and the other one he introduces to Tony, and she just kind of goes up and kisses him, and it's like, these girls are so fucking easy. Like, seriously. And then, probably one that could have been my favorite, but ended up just not really being as good as it should have been, because there wasn't enough to it, was John and Judy. This one, I feel, could have been one of the best, but they didn't give enough to it. It was honestly a very minor one compared to the others. So John, played by Martin Freeman, and Judy, played by Joanna Page, they're professional body doubles for films, and specifically seem to do sex scenes. So they're doing these faked sex scenes for these films, in which Tony, from before, he's a production assistant on. And so they just start to chat while they're doing it, and they become really comfortable with each other, and start to form this just budding romance. And eventually, they get together. They agree to go on a date, they attend the Christmas pageant, and everything just works out beautifully for them. My problem with this is that, again, there's not enough to it. I feel like we needed to see more of them outside of the sex scenes, the movie sex scenes and all that they were shooting, and outside of the little bits at the end where they were already together. We needed to see that more. Like, if we had actually seen, like, that first date, that would have been fantastic. But basically all we saw of that was him walking her home after. And it's just, it just feels like there could have been so much more, you know? And then the last one that apparently is listed as an actual storyline is for Rufus, which is Rowan Atkinson's character. He didn't have an actual storyline. I don't really count that. He was the jewelry salesman. He sold Terry the necklace and everything, and we saw him again at the airport at the end. That's it. Apparently, according to this, he was originally supposed to be a Christmas angel, but that was scrapped for the final cut of the film. And then there was the end, where everyone kind of came together back at the airport. Everything kind of worked out, and yeah. It's just okay. Now, like I said, this movie was pretty good. Not the best movie I've seen. Not the best movie I've reacted to here on YouTube. But it was pretty good, and I enjoyed it. And I definitely say it was worth seeing. Again, it was something that I'd been wanting to see for quite a long time. Never got around to. But I'm glad I finally did. And apparently, if what this says is correct, this actually has a sequel. Funny enough. There is a sequel to this that came out last year, actually, called Red Nose Day, actually. So, yeah. And it looks like it stars all the same actors and stuff. But it takes place, apparently, 13 years after the events of the first film. Which, I mean, makes sense because of when it was filmed and everything. It seems to have most of the same actors and actresses. Olivia Olsen's still in it. Rowan Atkinson, Liam Neeson, Hugh Grant, Colin Firth, Andrew Lincoln. They're all still in it. So it seems like mostly everything is still pretty much the same. Apparently the US version, though, has some extra stuff in it, I guess, if what I'm seeing. I don't know. But either way, so yeah, there's apparently a sequel. I probably won't react to it on the channel, but I did just want to mention that as well. So yeah, I did enjoy this. I had a couple of issues with a couple of the stories that were going on, but otherwise it was fine. It was fine. But I want to hear your thoughts. Tell me what you thought of this movie in the comments below. Tell me what you thought of the characters, of the different stories, of the way it was set up. Do you think there was too much going on, and do you think some stories suffered because of it? Or were you just fine with it? Tell me what your favorite story was. Again, mine was probably the one with the Prime Minister and all. I just really thought that was a really cute one. And I really liked the characters and the acting in it. But the Liam Neeson one was fantastic, too. The one with him and his son and all. So, yeah. Tell me your thoughts on that, and thank you for tuning in to the first video in the 2018 holiday special. Once again, after this, we're probably going to get into, by the end of the week, or maybe early next week, the top 10 favorite Christmas or holiday songs. And then next Friday, not this coming Friday, but the Friday after, will be my Christmas live stream. More info will come on that, such as timing and everything. So I'll let you know as time goes along. But yeah, either way, thank you once again. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears along the way, you're still standing, live, love, laugh.